Here's the question. Do you guys know where the Oak Island Blueberry Vineyards are? Because I bought this authentic bottle of Oak Island Blueberry wine, which means the vineyards must be around here somewhere. I just don't know where they are. It's February. Hey, we are going into season 3 of Sands in the Surf here, fishing on Oak Island. And it's 2 weeks. I'm going to give it 2 weeks. It's going to start warming up. And in March, we're going to be out there and we're going to catch some puffers. And I got some plans for this year coming up. I got some little tips and tricks I'm going to try. We're going to do a few things a little bit unique. But for today, it's too cold to fish. February's just not a good month for fishing for me. So I thought we'd take 2 weeks off and talk about the history. Number one, we'll talk about the history of Oak Island. Maybe I'll point out a few things you didn't even know. And number two, we're going to seek for the elusive Oak Island Blueberry Vineyards. I'm sure they're around here somewhere. Come on, let's go. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do if you do want to fish in February is you want to get the freshest bait possible. So I picked up the shrimp. Look at the size of it. It's ginormous. I got this shrimp head on at Hagen Sons, and I'm just going to cut it up into pieces here and try to cast it out and see if I can catch anything, but I can guarantee you I'm not going to catch too many fish in this video. It's just February and it's cold and not a great time to go fishing, and that is why this video is dedicated to the Oak Island facts and history, some things you may or may not know about Oak Island. For starters, our beaches face south. Most beaches in North Carolina, if you were looking into the water as you are here, you'd be looking towards England. But here we are not. Actually, if you were to swim straight out there, you'd eventually reach Cuba. Now, if you swam a little bit to the right, you might hit Florida. And if you went a little to the left, you might hit the Bahamas. But basically, it's a south-facing beach, and it is facing towards Cuba. The unique thing about that is that in the winter, and only in the winter, you can actually watch the sunset over the water. Just the way the earth is turned, the sun will set. You'll be like, are you in the Pacific Ocean? How does the sun setting over? It's just the fact that we're south-facing beaches, and the bay out there is called Long Bay, and the sun sets over Long Bay in the winter, but not in the summer. Now, another fact you might want to know is that in the winter, you can make a fire. You can get a permit from the town. You have to go to the town on their website, and they will email you and tell you it's okay. I believe it's from the middle of November till about the end of April. You're allowed to make a bonfire as long as you have some way of putting it out, and you can call 911 in case it got out of control. So make a little fire, keep your wife warm while you go fishing. Now, I started off this video with saying I wanted to find the Oak Island Blueberry Vineyards, but what I have located is the Silver Coast Winery. Now, this winery is in Brunswick County. It's not on Oak Island. It's a little further down near Ocean Isle. However, you can go there, and we went there on Valentine's Day, and you can do a taste testing. So you have to make reservations right now because of COVID, but you give them your name, and they'll take you up to the bar there, and they will show you the different sampler packs that you can get to try different wines. What they offer is a white wine sampler, a red wine sampler, a mixed, and there was something else I can't remember. It's on the sheet right here, but I can't read it, so you just have to take my word for it. Oh, whatever, the palate pleasure, that's the other one. I went with the red wine. My wife decided to try the white wines, and so they give you a little, like a little cheat sheet. You can look at it, and it tells you like the flavors, and then you're allowed to taste it, and you can see if you like it or not. I guess the idea is they want you to buy a bottle of their wine. So anyway, we went into there's several different rooms, and this is the art room. So the art teacher had to go see the art, but they have different rooms. One had a fireplace, which was really nice. And we just sat down at this big wine jug thing here. We got a cheese sampler with crackers, which was like $9, but it was fun. And then they bring out these little thimbles of wine. And here's my little red sampler, and that was the white one over there. And really, they can't be more than 2 ounces. And they give you a wine glass, which you get to keep. And basically, you pour the wine into the little wine glass, and then you can taste it and see if you like it or not, and you can take notes, and then there's a glass of water so you can cleanse your palate and maybe wash out the glass and go for the next one. So it was a lot of fun, but it wasn't the vineyards I was looking for, which are, of course, the blueberry vineyards of Oak Island. What I did find was a nice trout right here that I would fish at if it wasn't February. And I want to show you this because you got to look for structure when you want to go surf fishing. And this is just such a great example. I had to catch a video of it and slip it into this video. Look at this water getting pulled out through here. Anything that's up in here is going to get swept out like that, swept right out, and the fish are going to stack up right there, waiting for whatever's coming out to go fall into their mouths. So that is a great place to fish. You'll see we've got a sandbar, so we've got some rocks here, great structure. Another place I would want to fish, if this were high tide, would be right in this spot. I would probably mark this building and at low tide, stand right about there at high tide, and cast right into this spot because the fish are going to stack up in there as well. This is a third example, which is a hole on the other side, and you can see that it's just more structure and fish are going to want to be in there. So I just wanted to show these videos. Sometimes I talk about fishing holes and structure, and this was just such a great example. I had to get a shot of it. Probably mark that building again and try to fish right into this spot if it were high tide. Now, another random fact about Oak Island is if you have a flag and you need to have it disposed of properly, you can take it to the VFW. They're located right next to the Publix on Oak Island, and they have a drop box out in front, and you can place your flag into the drop box. And here, my flag got torn on the bottom. There was a screw, and it got caught on it, and the wind kind of got it to rip it up. So I wanted to have it disposed of properly, and I know they're going to take good care of it. So if that happens to you, just so you know, a little fact there, because we're doing our Oak Island facts and history. Back to the ocean here, Long Bay. I want to explain some of the naming conventions that go with Oak Island so that you can understand where some of the names are coming from, because it can be a little confusing, but once you understand the history, it makes sense. The island itself, the physical island, is called Oak Island. However, at one time, it was made up of 3 separate towns. There was Long Beach, there was Yopon, and there was Caswell Beach. And then in I believe it was 1999, they decided to consolidate because they realized, why do we have these 3 separate towns? We can have one town and we'll just call it Town of Oak Island. So Long Beach and Yopon decided to do that, and then Caswell Beach decided not to. They thought about it, but then they decided not to. So when you come to the island of Oak Island and you visit, if you're on one end of the island, you're in the town of Oak Island, but you could also stay at Caswell Beach, which is also on Oak Island. I hope that makes a lot of sense. Did you know that actually Oak Island wasn't very populated for a while, but then what happened is they started doing fox hunts on Oak Island. So people from Southport and other places would come to Oak Island to go fox hunting. I don't think we do too much fox hunting, but you might see one once in a while. There's some here, or maybe some coyotes. We might need to update and go coyote hunting. So geographically, Oak Island is a man-made island. The ICW, which is on one side of it, was actually constructed back in 1930s. So I'm sure there was a lot of marsh there. I don't really know the history of it, but the ICW was dredged out, and so Oak Island is actually a man-made island. Through Oak Island, there is Davis Canal, and that cuts right up the middle of Oak Island. It stops at like 40th Street on one end, and it empties out into the ICW, the Intercoastal Waterway, on the other end of the island. So there's some of the geography. Well, actually, I'll mention some more. There are actually 2 islands at the west end, which you might not have known about. There's Horse Island and then Sheep Island. Now, you might be familiar with Sheep Island because if you go down to the point, you can see it. And on top of it, top of Sheep Island, someone has placed a cross up on top of that. So that kind of becomes like a familiar landmark for a lot of people who've gone down there. The story, as I understand it, is that they placed the cross on the island. A husband did it for his wife, that she was dying of cancer, so he did it as a tribute to her. All right, so in my search for the Oak Island Blueberry Vineyards, I stopped in Southport on the way home in the Food Line in Southport, and I started looking at their wines, and I noticed they had local wines. And then when I looked towards the end of the rack, I noticed they had the blueberry wine that looked exactly like the Oak Island wine, but when I picked it up, it said Southport on top. And then I started to think, there's Oak Island wine in Oak Island, but the exact same bottle in Southport is called Southport. If I go to BSL, is there going to be a BSL wine? Like, is there a Wilmington wine? Is this just a whole scam? I'm starting to think the wineries of Oak Island don't exist. The blueberry wineries don't exist. I don't know. Anyway, we got about 2 weeks. I'm telling you, the water temperature was 57 degrees. And if we can just get up to 60, I know there's going to be some puffer around. It's not that you can't go down to the dock and throw some shrimp and catch some croaker, and maybe they're going to be about 3 or 5 inches. Disappointing. So, but in another couple of weeks, hopefully the water temperature is going to warm up and we're going to start doing some real fishing. So that's going to wrap it up for season 2 of Sands in the Surf, and we're going to see you for season 3 in about 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. As always, hey, hit the subscribe button in the bottom if you want to catch up with all the new videos that are going to come out in season 3. And also, hey, check out the website. We got sandsinthesurf.com. Check it out. Lots of stuff on there. All right, that's it. Thanks.